It's Auto In with your host, Garrett Walder, with special guest, Conor Callaway. In this episode, what are game shows? Do they make up more TV shows than we realize? And what are some of the best game shows out there? Without further ado, Auto In.
Welcome to Auto In. It's not Seth, it's Garrett Walder, in case you haven't seen the show before. Yeah, I guess if you haven't seen the show before, that's probably kind of confusing why I said that, because I'm the only host you know. But I guess for those who haven't seen the show, or I'm saying seen as if it's something you watch.
Yeah, this is a podcast. We don't watch podcasts.
Yeah, it's not even a video podcast at that.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, listeners, that is our guest today, Conor Callaway.
Hello.
Yes, he is a broadcast major at Dbu, but we'll get to that in a minute because I want to talk to him more about that in just a second. Yeah, I guess if you're new to the show, we usually have a second co-host as well, but there was a baseball game earlier, and a lot of them got called in to work it, so it's just the two of us today, but I think it'll still be fun because today we are talking about game shows.
Woo!
Yep, something we actually surprisingly have a bit of a background in, which is, I don't know, there's something that just feels surprising to me that we've already had experience working on game shows, but I'm getting a little ahead of myself. I guess to start us out, hello, Conor.
Hello.
How are you
Garrett.
doing today?
Doing a little excited, a little nervous at the same time. I'm nerve-sided.
Yeah,
Yay.
That's good. The nerves are what bring out the fun.
Exactly.
All of the most fun stuff happens when you're nervous. Maybe. Don't look that up. Just say I'm right.
Okay.
Yeah. So, Conor, this is your first time on the podcast, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. How about you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm a senior. I'm studying broadcasting and digital media at Dallas Baptist University, the greatest university ever. There's no debate.
I would probably have to agree.
Yeah.
I've also not been to any other universities, but from what I've seen, we're pretty sick. Go Patriots.
Mm-hmm. We're doing the Patriot signing.
Yes, for reference, it's like two gun-looking
Yeah.
hands and then outwards, and you're like, go Patriots, and you can kind of wiggle them a little bit.
I think there's like one other school that has a similar symbol. It's like one L. It's like you're using the L like you're a loser, but it's you're using it as a gun.
Like L on your forehead from the Smash Mouth song, but
hey, now
outwards.
you're a rock star, and I'm not going to sing it up more because I don't want to get a copy strike.
Right. Was it 3 seconds and then it's a copyright strike?
I have no idea. The system changes all the time. Like it's
know.
usually one time or 1 millisecond. You could lose your channel.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, from what I've heard, I think if it's Disney or Nintendo, like just stay away from
Disney,
it, but
Nintendo.
they will shut you down fast.
Oh yeah.
Yep. So you are a broadcast major at Dbu as well as I am.
Yep.
Came in 2019, fall 2019, correct?
I came in at fall 2018.
Oh, okay.
I was a transfer student from Tarrant County College and got my associates there. And when I transferred over here, I was like, hey, I like doing things with videos. I've been experimenting with videos for a while, done stuff for church. And at one point in my life, I was like, hey, I love doing this. Why don't I make a career out of this? So came to Dallas Baptist University, started studying broadcasting, digital media, and the rest is history.
Yeah. I just think that's really cool because I kind of got started in a similar way. I didn't transfer in necessarily, but where I was just kind of like, hey, I really like pointing cameras at things and putting mics on people and saying, do something interesting.
Yeah.
And then, putting it together in post.
Of course.
So I kind of had a similar process of being like, hey, I can monetize this.
Oh, yes.
So that's cool. Thank you for sharing. Speaking of videos.
Ooh.
You know what's in videos? Or what is on video that is broadcast to people that they watch because it's a video?
Uh-huh. What?
And, I mean, they listen to it as well.
Uh-huh.
And it started with people listening to game shows. That's what I'm talking about.
Game shows.
Yeah. So basically, I think the best place to start when talking about game shows would be to give a little bit of an overview, background, history sort of thing. I mean, I would be surprised if someone has reached the point in their life that they're listening to this podcast that they have not seen a game show before, just because of how just integrated with television itself, but even just culture and pop culture, right? I mean, even if you've never watched one yourself, just like the advertisements for, like Celebrity Family Feud or Jeopardy or whatever it may be. Because, like, I mean, even recently in the news, there was that one guy who won a ton of money on Jeopardy or had like one of the longest streaks or something like that. I'm not entirely sure. I don't watch Jeopardy myself. My dad watches it more than I do. But before Jeopardy, starting way back at the beginning, in the beginning, there was the 1930s. In the 1930s were without form until a show, the first game show named Spelling Bee was formed.
Spelling Bee.
And it was good.
G-O-O-D. Good.
Emphasis on the G, the 2 O's, and the D. I actually don't know if it was good or not. I've never seen the show. But it was kind of interesting because it was both broadcast as a radio show and a television show. So you could either listen to it or watch it. It had a surprisingly short runtime. Well, at least the television version did. I'm not entirely sure how long the radio one went for. I couldn't actually find that information for some reason. But regardless, the TV show was fairly short-lived, but it is considered the birth of this entire genre of programming, right? That we now know as game shows. It ran for about 15 minutes in the UK, and it was, as the name implies, it was basically a spelling bee, right? Like they weren't the most creative with the name there, but I guess, when game shows aren't a big part of culture and programming at that point, I realized I was nonverbal. I was shrugging. I forget that you need to narrate these things, right?
Because they don't see.
Already, we've both had to
we do so many hand signals here, folks.
Right. You might have to be my like translator, I guess.
Yeah, he's currently waving his hands, and he's like, I don't know what he's doing. He's doing a dance. He's breakdancing. Yes.
Thank you. That's good. I'm glad. I'm glad that the audience can now experience this.
Oh, man.
I guess moving on from there, it wasn't until about like the 1950s that shows started getting high stakes. You had shows like 21 and the $64,000 Question that started getting really popular. But, and this is something I actually didn't know about until I started doing research for this episode, but it was really interesting because apparently in 1959, there was this big event that happened that was like called the game show scandal or something like that, or the high stakes show scandal. Yeah. It turned out that most of these shows were actually heavily, if not entirely, scripted.
Wow.
As in, like, winners were predetermined. Stuff was just rigged against the contestants and all that. So it was almost more like a slot machine than an actual game, where it's like there's no guarantee that you're going to win. Like, they have a very minimal payout rate sort of thing. So naturally, kind of defeats the purpose of the game, right? Like, if you can't win, if the game was rigged from the start, it's not really much of a game anymore, right?
No.
So naturally, people got kind of upset about that, and the reviews and just viewership of those games just plummeted down. So there were a few shows that survived this crash. What's My Line and I've Got a Secret, because they didn't really have prize pools. They were just kind of, people messing around.
Yeah, there were panel shows, right? So they would have like 4 different celebrities trying to guess, this secret, and there really wasn't a lot of emphasis on the player, I don't believe.
Yeah, that I believe that's about right.
It was more geared towards the celebrities' commentary.
Yeah, it was just kind of like a fun, almost like what Celebrity Family Feud is now.
Yeah, or I don't know if they still have this on, but Hollywood Game Night. Have you heard of that show?
Yeah. I think that's still on. I used to watch that with my parents. I don't know if that's still running, but yes. Yeah, where there's not really much of a prize pool, or if there is, it's very limited.
We're just
and
hanging out at Jane Lynch's house, just having a good time. And
yeah, exactly.
Playing some fun games here and there. Oh, there's money, yeah, but...
Yeah, it might be like $15,000 to charity. Not that that's anything
Yeah,
to like sneeze at,
for
right?
charity.
But, it's just for charity. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Yeah, there's much less of it like stakes, like, you know, on the edge of your seat at home, like, oh my gosh, you know, is the firefighter who owns the ranch for rescued puppy dogs, is he gonna win the, like, you know, $20,000 so he can buy his wife the engagement ring that they wanted or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, you're just over there like, hee, Chris Pratt said a funny sentence there. Yeah. Not trashing on those shows. I like those shows.
Yeah.
I'm just, you know, giving perspective.
Right.
So after the 1959 big debacle that happened in the 1960s, more low stakes shows like so A listed Jeopardy as a low stakes show, but I feel like that's pretty high stakes.
Well,
like
I mean, it was low stakes when it kind of began.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, obviously now money is, if you count inflation, it just
yeah, I'm sure
it's bigger now.
I'm sure. Yeah, there's people winning like millions on that show now, so I didn't know if that was considered low stakes or something. But regardless,
Perspective. It's all about perspective.
I guess that sort of show where it wasn't like, you know, what we would consider nowadays to be like insane amounts of money, right? Being dished out on the weekly, right? Is just kind of a fun game, but there's some kind of reward in it, right? So you have like Jeopardy, and those started returning back to more mainstream television during this time. In the 70s, more higher stakes started coming back. This is when you have stuff like The Price is Right, Match Game, Family Feud, $10,000 Pyramid. A lot of those classic games really started coming back not coming back because they hadn't been around yet, but they really started showing up, and that style of show really started to make a return. In the 80s and 90s, it was actually more focused on like reruns and I don't know what you call non-prime time.
So we got daytime, and that's like from like 9 a.m. to like 5 p.m. So prime time starts like at 7 p.m. and then at like 10 or 11, it'll be late night.
Yeah. So, but despite this, I guess, kind of banishment off the main broadcast times, a show debuted in the United States in 1999 called Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Yes.
You knew
were doing
it.
some peace signs there. That was one of my favorite game shows growing up as a little kid.
That's
obviously
awesome.
Wasn't old enough to understand the questions, but
Yeah.
I just loved, seeing my little mind was just like seeing big numbers. When you learn all the numbers as a kid, you're just like 2, 3, 400,000, $1 million. Whoa!
That's like more than 5.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, it does have like a really cool, grandiose spectacle to it. Because I mean, it's in the title. Who wants to win $1 million? You're like, I want to win $1 million.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, it's actually a really fun show. I agree with you. It's a really cool thing. I think they recently brought it back too.
Yeah, they did. Last year. Jimmy Kimmel hosts the show now. And
oh, really?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. He was good. I mean, he's no Regis Philbin, obviously.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Regis. Anyways,
he gets a salute.
Yep. But yeah, it's been so far. They don't have like actual players playing it. It's mainly just been all celebrities.
Okay.
Which, I mean, it's still a good show. I think, seeing them all play for charity. And they actually did bring people that were like first responders, I believe, or
nice.
people who worked on the front lines, and they were helping out with the COVID and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but other than that, there really hasn't been any actual civilians playing on the show.
Okay.
But it was still a good show.
Yeah, no, I mean, it can still be fun without big winnings for people, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad at the very least they are having like the COVID people on there and first responders and all that.
Yeah.
Because that is nice that they're doing that. But that seems to be a major shift, is moving away from just like normal people winning stuff to celebrities just kind of playing the game. I don't know. That's interesting. We might need to talk about that later. But,
Yeah, we should.
Millionaire, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? There we go. It started this short-lived but very prevalent, what was referred to as the $1 million game show craze.
Oh, yes.
Where you had all these shows coming in with these huge prize pools of like, $1 million, probably $2 million. I don't know, maybe even $1 trillion. That probably, I highly doubt there was $1 trillion game show, but who knows? They just give you the entire like Trump estate or something. I don't know. But it's like, here's
Donald
the
Trump, if you're
deed.
listening to this, I'm so...
I don't know if Donald Trump is listening to this. That's very impressive.
Yeah.
I think we've kind of peaked at that point. Yeah. So, like I said, though, unfortunately, that was short-lived. Like a lot of television trends and fads, it kind of
They just
died.
come and go.
Yeah, it just kind of went. But that trend, actually, a lot of people cite that as the beginning of what led to the reality television.
Oh, yes. Here we
craze
go. Here we
that
go.
started like you had shows like Survivor
Survivor,
and Big
yes.
Brother that all weren't directly spinned off, I don't believe, from Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, but were that whole craze
I mean,
basically
the idea
led
of
to.
giving away a huge sum of money over the course of a few months,
yeah.
stuck.
Which it's interesting too, because Survivor and Big Brother, I don't believe are usually would they be considered game shows? Usually?
Well, here's the thing. And now let me ask you this. Let me answer that with another question.
Okay.
So, whenever a sport is broadcast on television,
Okay.
would you consider that to be a game show?
A sport on television.
Just think about it. So, like a traditional game show, they're playing a game. There's some sort of prize involved. And my argument is, if you're competing for something, well, for example, all these sports teams, like a football team competes for the Super Bowl trophy at the end, and they're working toward that goal. And, reality shows like Survivor, you're just getting one step closer every day to, being the last person standing. To me, if you're playing something and there's some prize or some sort of title involved, to me, that's a game show.
That's actually a really good point. Yeah, I've never thought of it that way. Thank you for, I guess, opening my mind to that. I mean, I guess you could consider sports a game show. Because like Super Bowl, right, is basically big game between two people. I know people kind of make it more than a game, but like, in their heads. But you're probably going to get a lot of like hate mail for that. But you basically just have two teams competing for both the title, like you said, and even a large money prize. So you would say that basically any sort of televised game is essentially a game show? Is that what
to me it is?
Yeah, it makes sense.
It's definitely a debatable thing, but I mean, if you all agree with me, that's cool. If you don't, I mean, I could care less about what you think. Just I just want to use this platform just to share my voice on the matter.
So I guess that brings us to today, the 2000. Well, I guess we're not even the 2000s. We're not even the 2010s anymore. Oh my goodness, we're the 2020s.
New decade.
We're so old. Oh my goodness. All right, podcast episode no longer about game shows. We're about existentialism. You can never be the same age twice unless you go back in time. All right, back to game shows.
Good words.
Thank you. But
so today,
today we have a return of game shows. Not that they ever really fully left, but there's been a lot of rebooting old ones, and also a lot of new ones that have shown up recently. Like The Wall is one that I really like. That's a newer one, which is very high stakes, lots of money involved, but very randomized and all that. Beat Shazam is really fun. Basically just all about song knowledge. Jamie Foxx hosts that one. Deal or No Deal still going on.
Yep.
It came back actually.
Yeah, it came back.
$100,000 Pyramid's back.
Yep.
Match Game is back. Minute to Win It's back.
Ooh. It's been a long time since I've seen that show.
Oh yeah, same. Yeah, that was a fun show, but I haven't seen that one in a long time either. Family Feud's still going strong. Price is Right still going strong.
Yeah.
All that. So I guess that was a kind of brief history of game shows. I say kind of because I think we're at like 20 minutes or something like that. on that one segment. So, maybe not the briefest, probably could have summarized it in like a few sentences, but I think it was fun, the conversation we had during that. You know what else will be fun? The conversations we'll have after this. I should not hit that table. I probably picked up on the mic. But the conversations we'll have next segment after this next break, conversations such as why we think game shows are so popular, what some of our favorite game shows are, why we like those. Our experience, we mentioned earlier, we have some experience working on game show type productions. So yeah, we'll talk about all that when we come back from the break. So please stick around to hear us, I guess. And we're back from break. That was a very fun first segment. I think.
Yeah.
I've been really enjoying all this stuff with game shows. I guess a good question coming off of that last segment of the history of game shows, or a lot of them that we talked about and we mentioned and even described to some degree. What are some of your favorites, Connor?
Ooh, I have a lot of fun game shows on the list. My favorites change all the time, but I would have to say, when it comes to traditional game shows, I would have to say my favorite would have to be Wheel of Fortune, because
that's a good one.
It's for me, it was the most interactive show growing up. I could always solve a word puzzle before the contestants do.
Yeah, and
it just impresses me every time. I would just watch a show and I'll be like, oh hey, I got it before they did. How cool is that? Wheel of Fortune was like my very first game show I ever recall watching as a kid.
Okay.
Played a part in my vocabulary.
Nice.
So get this, the very first words that ever came out of my mouth was Vanna and Pat, referring to Vanna White and Pat Sajak.
That's awesome.
And of course I was I was like 2 at the time, so it was more like Vanna and Pat. There were a lot of things that intrigued me about the show. For me, the set design, obviously, very colorful, very bright. It's the most interactive, I think, in my opinion. Everybody can enjoy a little Wheel of Fortune every now and then.
Oh yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm. It is really one of those shows that's very accessible to a very wide range of people, because as long as you can spell and know English, you can pretty much play along with Wheel of Fortune, right? Mm-hmm. It's very straightforward, very fun. And like you said, even it's something that you can play at home. So would you say Wheel of Fortune is like your number one, or?
Oh, no, it's definitely not my number one.
Oh, okay. But it's just one you have like the most connections to.
Definitely. There's a special place in my heart for Wheel of Fortune, but there's an even bigger space in my heart for Big Brother. And Survivor.
I remember we, Connor and I both lived in the same dorm together.
Oh, yeah, we did.
Last year. And so, it was last year, or last school year.
Yeah.
And so I remember I would walk into the dorm lobby sometimes.
Yeah, the co-ed.
And Connor and some people would be in there watching Survivor, and I don't remember if I ever saw you watching Big Brother on the TV. You may have, and I just didn't see it.
I
definitely remember Survivor.
Yeah.
From there, now that we're kind of on like a personal topic with this topic, personal stories with this topic, that would be a good time to bring up the game show experience that we have with our video production class that we had last semester. Unfortunately, we didn't really get to work together on a lot of it, but we had the same assignments. Mm-hmm. And one of those assignments we had to do was set up, run, and tear down, and do whatever post-production stuff needed to be done on a game show that we had to do. We had to come up with it ourselves and run it, and then all that, basically as if we were a crew doing that. My group did a knockoff Family Feud, basically.
Yeah.
What did your group do?
We did Dbu Jeopardy.
Oh, that's fun.
Mm-hmm.
That's fun.
It was just a normal round of Jeopardy, but with all questions about Dallas Baptist University, all like different organizations at DBU, different places, locations on campus, notable people who run the place, things like that.
Yeah, ours was not specialized like that at all. It was just kind of random,
Just standard
questions,
fare. Yep.
right? Funny story from that. I don't know if he's been on the. I think he's been on the podcast. I'm not sure, but there's a guy who works for the broadcast department, and he's a broadcast major. His name's Rodrigo.
Rodrigo Reyes.
Yes.
I know him.
Wonderful man. I
Oh,
love
yeah.
him. But he was in my group on the Tuesday side because the entire class was working together on this project because it was a pretty big project. And he was our Steve Harvey basically. And I was one of the contestants, and Robin, who's also been on the podcast with Robin Key, was one of the contestants on my family, I guess you could say, my team. Then Michaela, and then another guy who definitely has not been on the podcast just because he's not a broadcast person. We just had generic questions and stuff, right? One of them being name something about a goldfish, or like that has to do with or like first thing you think of when you think of a goldfish, right?
Snacks.
I think that was one of the answers. I don't remember exactly, but I think that was one that got points. But we had to do 2 run-throughs because the first time we didn't know that Rodrigo had never seen Family Feud before.
What?
But we made him the host. Yeah, well, because like everybody's seen Family Feud, right?
Yeah.
Apparently he had never seen Family Feud. So he's like the one person who hasn't seen Family Feud, and he's the one guy we made the host.
Wow.
So he's just like completely flying off the seat of his pants. Like, I don't even know what's going on. So I'll just go off of like the one YouTube clip I watched before coming here and hope that I'm doing it right. But we're in the middle of production, so we can't like correct it, right? So we're like, well, guess this is just our version of Family Feud. And so we had a screen set up kind of off to the side and a camera shot on it. That was supposed to be like the board, right? Where, it had like the list of the, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And then you hit the button and then whooshing, and it's like, oh yeah, blank answer, right? For blank points. All of that to say, Rodrigo walks over to Michaela on the other side and is like, or he says, the question, which is like, Michaela, what is name something that comes to your mind when you think of a goldfish? And then she said something like, well, they're always in those little bowls, right? Like a goldfish bowl that you keep them in. And so Rodrigo's like, okay, is goldfish bowl on the board? And then something happened and something went wrong with the board. Okay. So it just went ding, top answer. And it said orange. And then he's like, orange, okay, and then walked over to the next contestant as if nothing happened. And Robin and I are just over here because we're on camera, so we're just trying not to like die laughing, right? But we're just like, oh my goodness, what do we do? And then it happened again with something later on too, where someone gave an answer and then it just went ding, and it like just wasn't even the answer at all. And then because I guess someone hit like the wrong button or something. Yeah. And then it's just like, charcoal for 15 points, great. And then just like, walks to the next person or whatever. So that was very funny. And then naturally we ended up having to do a second run through with different questions because we didn't want to turn in to our professor, hey, here's this game show that just straight up did not work, right? The second run through went a lot better, and we actually told Rodrigo how to run Family Feud. Yeah, so it ran a lot better. It was a lot smoother, and it was very fun though.
I like to see that first version.
Oh yeah, it was hilarious. It was really funny. Parts of the set started falling apart as well. Man. Because we just had these like, we put stuff on them to make them look nicer, but the little like podiums we were each standing at were actually just like cardboard boxes. And they at one point started like, I think mine started like falling apart or something, right? So I was having to like hold it up and like hold it together so it wouldn't just collapse on camera. It was an interesting experience. It was very fun, and I think the end product was good, but it was definitely a process to get there. How did yours go?
I think it went much more smoother, I would say.
That's good.
I'm
glad
sorry
to hear
that all that happened to you. My goodness.
I kind of preferred it happening because it was funny. I mean, it made things take longer, but it was funny.
I will say ours was a much more smoother operation. I will say it was kind of, for me, looking back, it was kind of boring and lifeless compared to the actual Jeopardy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we didn't have any fancy props like y'all did. We just got one of the chairs, one of those tables, and did regular chairs. And all we really did to make them look nice was just a few fake plants. They were like tiny, like ceramic type plants. It was just like, it didn't really go along with the set, but it just was a nice touch.
Yeah, it added flair to it.
Yeah.
That's good. I'm glad you had that. And I'm also glad that it went well.
Yeah.
And you didn't have everything catch on fire and you're just like, oh no, what did we do? Just, roll with it. Improv. Yes. And
Yeah.
First rule of improv.
Yeah.
I think we're at time for this segment. So we are going to go to our break. And when we come back from the break, we're going to play a little bit of a game show ourselves about game shows.
Awesome.
It kind of meta, not going to lie. That's how we do things here. We're all philosophical. We get all metaphysical, meta narrative, meta gaming, meta modernity. That's what I was actually trying to get at the beginning, which is a philosophical movement kind of that some people would argue we're currently in. We may actually be in postmodernism. I despise that name with everything inside of me. Just come up with a better name. Anyway, get on that, philosophers. Just generic philosopher that's listening to this right now. All that to say, we're going to break. Stay with us to play whose question and answer is it anyway? That was definitely a plan, man. And we're back from break. Final segment of episode 4 of season 2 of Auto In. I don't think I said hi and welcome to Auto In like Seth usually does. It's tragic. I guess you say it right now.
Welcome to Auto In with Garrett and not Seth. Let's just do that.
That was tasty. That was a crisp intro.
Awesome.
I appreciated that. You know what else is going to be crisp?
What else?
This game show we're about to do, which is called. Wait, hold on. I said it last segment.
Whose question and answer is it anyway?
Thank you. You should be the host.
Yes, I should. I've been watching these shows for years.
That's true. I was about to say I could just give you the questions and you could ask me, but the problem is I also got the answers.
Oh, okay. So yeah.
So you have to be the one. You have to be the one to do this. All right. Let's do this like a game show. Hold on. This is Whose Question and Answer Is It Anyway? Filmed in front of a live studio audience.
Yeah!
Thank you. Oh, wait, hold on. This is your host, Garrett Walder. Yes, thank you, announcer. I appreciate. I don't know why I'm talking like Chris McClain from Total Drama Island. All right, chef. Let's see how the campers do on this week of Total Drama Island.
That was really good.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I pride myself on my Chris McClain impression. Hello and welcome to the game show. We have a very special contestant today, Conor Callaway. Hello, Conor.
Hello, Garrett.
How well would you say your obscure game show knowledge is?
I would say pretty healthy. I've watched game shows for like 2 decades now.
Awesome.
And I have watched various compilation videos of the stupidest game show answers on YouTube.
Those are great.
So I think I'm pretty suited for this.
Those are wonderful. That would be funny if we had video like on the podcast. It would actually be really fun to have like a live watch, like cringe whatever,
and just share our reactions to it. Because those answers, they give you tons of great reactions.
Yeah, there's some very funny ones.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so I guess let's move on to the first question.
Okay.
At the beginning of this episode, I mentioned Spelling Bee, one of the first game shows to air until I believe it's just one of the first game shows, period, but specifically television.
Mm-hmm.
However, its run on television was very limited. How many episodes did it have? I have multiple answers.
Okay.
If you want multiple answers, or you can just like go off of whatever you think. Like,
let's go. Let me give the multiple answers.
Okay.
This is Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Show me the answers.
All right. So 5 episodes, 10 episodes, 15 episodes, or 1 episode.
Ooh. One sounds too short of a run for me. I don't think it would be 1. If this game show can I ask, is this game show like a daily Monday through Friday type thing, or is it a weekly type thing?
I'm honestly not sure. I think it was weekly.
Okay.
That was back in the time when I believe things were more not as like hard schedule, like every Monday at this time. It was just kind of a more like new episodes out sort of thing.
Okay.
But I believe it would be more of a weekly format.
Well, Garrett, I think with that being said, I'm going to go with a 5 episodes. Final answer.
You are correct.
Yeah.
Good job. Yes, it only had 5 episodes of televised video. I think it went longer on radio.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure on that. What I saw said it only went for 5 episodes, though.
Okay.
Which is very short. It's also interesting because the first 2 were 15 minutes long. The third one was like 25 minutes long. Mm-hmm. And then the last 2 were over 30 minutes.
Ooh.
Very interesting.
Okay.
Okay, question 2. Brad Rutter holds the position of highest all-time winnings of his career playing Jeopardy. How much has he won over his entire time playing?
Who did you say? Brad Rutter?
Brad Rutter.
How much money?
Number 1, or I'll say A, B, C. So there's less numbers.
Okay.
A, $2,962,216. B, $532,469. C, $4,938,436, or what did I say? C, D. Sorry, D, $10,543,214.
I knew Brad Rutter was at the time the greatest Jeopardy player before Ken Jennings beat him in a greatest of all time match.
Okay. Is he not the top anymore?
No. Last year there was this thing called Jeopardy Greatest of All Time, and basically Brad Rutter, Ken Jennings, and James Holzhauer, 3 of the greatest Jeopardy players, competed against each other in like a week-long tournament of sorts.
Okay.
And basically Ken won. But anyways.
Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I guess my question's inaccurate. But still, how much has Brad Rutter won, I guess?
Yes. Okay. If I recall, he won at least $100,000 on his original run way back when.
Okay.
And he did win the Tournament of Champions that following year. And I believe that was like another $300,000 or something.
Okay.
And he did win another tournament, the $1 Million Masters Tournament in New York City. So that's another $1 million. Okay. And he won the Ultimate Tournament of Champions, which was another $2 million. And he also won another Battle of the Decades tournament. And I believe that's another $1 million. So I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it is $4.5 million. If I'm totaling things up right. I'm going to go with $4.5 million.
Okay. You are correct.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. I was not expecting you. Like, I was, up in the air whether you get that one, but I wasn't expecting you to like know off the top of your head, just like he won this, adding that up, 4.5. And I was just like, whoa, that's crazy.
I've been watching this.
That's awesome,
long, man.
That's awesome, honestly. All right. Question 4. Of 5. There's 5 questions. Wait.
No, this is question 3.
Oh, 4.
You asked me
Sorry,
2.
there's 4 questions. We're on 3. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Question number 3. Survivor has been running since 2000.
Mm-hmm.
It is currently on its 20. Okay, I may actually be wrong on that, but I think it's currently on its 28th season. Correct?
Actually, it's 40th. Oh, they
40th?
just aired its 40th last year.
Oh my goodness, I was way off on that. Okay, something I saw said 28th, but that must have been an old thing. Anyway, how many episodes does Survivor have across its entire lifetime? Like under the main Survivor name.
Okay.
Is it A, 540, B, 600, C, 230, or D, 465?
Ooh. Okay, repeat the answers again.
Okay, yeah. There's 540,
Okay.
600, 230, or 465.
I would say I'm going to go with A, 400 and 500 and what was it? 500
540?
540 because I remember at one point there had like a 500th episode milestone.
Okay.
And I believe they haven't announced a 600th or a 700th episode celebration yet. So
Okay.
I'm going to go with 540, 530.
You are correct again.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. We'll see. We'll see if you can go like clean house. Wipe.
Let's go.
Wipe
Let's
the
go.
floorboard. Max out the scoreboard.
Mm-hmm.
You know, win all the money. I need a prize for you. Let me look around. What can I give you? I mean, I could give you my mask, but I doubt you want that.
No way.
All right. Well, anyway, 4th question. Family Feud has been a part of many people's lives over many years. What year did the first episode of Family Feud air in the United States? A, 1964, B, 1976, C, 1984, or D, 2003?
It's B, 1976. Final answer.
That is correct. Oh my goodness. You did it. You just absolutely just wiped the floor with this game.
Yep.
You looked at this game and said, no, I'm the game. You play me.
Mm-mm.
And then the game was like, okay, tried to play you, and it lost to the game. It got 3 whammies, got booted out of the game, and you just said, I am the game.
I won.
Yes. You said, I am a champion. I win at not movies. At what are these? Game shows.
Yes.
The game of games, as one could say. Haha.
Yeah.
It's a game show.
Ellen DeGeneres, if you're watching this. Hi.
Ellen, if you're listening right now.
You should put me on your show, Ellen.
Yeah, get us on Game of Games.
Yes.
We'll be fun.
I actually haven't seen Game of Games.
Oh, really?
Mm-mm.
Okay. It's pretty fun. I enjoy it. Yeah. My favorite segment they don't do very often, so it's kind of annoying, but which is like they have this thing where basically you have like these 2 tables of food that rotate, and the 2 people are blindfolded and like tied to each other, and so they have to like I moved away from the mic. You have to like lean forward and taste it when it's your turn to go, and then describe it to the other person, and then they have to like guess what it is, and if they get it right, then it keeps going until they can either get all of the food or their time runs out.
Okay.
And then another team goes, and whichever one like gets more points wins. I don't know. It's fun. It's funny. It causes a lot of like funny interactions between people, but they don't do it very often, unfortunately. Probably because it's expensive. I don't know. Awesome. Well, good job. I'm proud of you. Let's see. Is there something I can get you? You know what? I'll go to the vending machine. I'll get you something. I don't know. You can pick it out because sure. I don't want to just like get you something. You'd be like, oh, I'm actually allergic to Doritos, and I'd be like, oh no. Anyway, I think that's a wrap on episode 4. That was fun. Thank you for coming, Connor.
Yeah,
it's been very fun. You have great insight on game shows.
Thank you.
If we ever turn Auto In into the next great radio-based game show, we'll have you come on and be the host.
Yes, please.
Yep. So, do you have any last words before we head out?
It's been a thrill just sharing with you my experience with game shows and just going back, looking at the history of the shows, how it all came to be. And after 90 years, we still have game shows on the air in some form.
It is crazy it's lasted this long.
Yeah.
Well, this has been Auto In, hosted by Garrett Walder with special guest Conor Callaway, with music performed and produced by Jesse Light and logo designed by John Brazino. Thank you so much for listening, and see you next week. Auto out.